Let's get cooking. Hey everybody, I'm here with another review in the Pixar review series, and now we are looking at Ratatouille. Now, this is actually a favorite in my household. Everybody in my family has said this is one of, if not the best Pixar movie. And yeah, I don't blame him for feeling that way because this movie is really good. It does have a couple of problems, but overall, it's definitely one of Pixar's best in my books. I really, really enjoyed it. And it was a movie that I personally was like, I was interested in because I was into cooking around this time, but at the same time, I was terrified because I hate rats. I am like, no, me and mice, stuff like that. No, I can't work. But this movie, I fell in love with it, and it was a really nice concept about a rat who loves to cook, who is invested in cooking, but his parents don't see it as that. His dad sees the humans as the enemy, as they have killed so many rats in the past. But when they have to escape the house that they are staying at, Remy steals the cooking book by one Augusta Gusto, and basically he becomes like a little ghost that's following him around, just kind of talking to him, someone to talk to. But him falling in love with cooking is one thing that he's really into. He passes by Gusto's restaurant underneath Paris, and sure enough, he's just watching the chefs, and then we find out that a guy named Linguini, who is basically this horrible chef, one of the worst ever, is messing up the kitchen soup. Remy goes in, he's getting angry, but then he realizes he has to escape there, and he has to, in his eyes, fix the soup because it wasn't like good. It was smelling bad, so he ends up cleaning the soup. He ends up fixing the soup, I should say, and then Linguini finds him, and then they ask him to kill the rat. But then when the restaurant loves the soup, they want to basically keep Linguini around. However, Linguini is a terrible cook, but Remy is a great cook, so they team up together to basically work as a dynamic. I love the scene of them working together, even having Linguini blindfolded and controlling his head by grabbing his hair. At first, they don't know how it works, but then they make it work. So that was a good practice, and I really love the finale of them eventually working as a team. The whole cliche of them like getting jealous of one another, and then Colette falling in love with Linguini, while charming, it was a little bit forced. Colette was probably my favorite character out of the chefs. There's another one that stands out for me. Horst. I killed the man with this thumb. He was awesome. The music, oh my goodness, the feel of Paris was just brilliantly put together. I loved it. I think what Brad Bird got correctly was the human characters, Remy, and of course the view of Paris. It was just beautifully looking. One of the more, this is probably one of the better animated. You could tell as Pixar went on, they upgraded on the animation, and they took more risk with human characters. Up to this point, it was toys, monsters, bugs, fishes. So they definitely explored more in the human aspect. Obviously, you have rats as the main character. One character I did not like in this entire movie was Emil. He was just a stereotypical fat guy that wants everything. And then he takes advantage of Remy working at a restaurant. So he sends his friends to constantly get food. He was very annoying. I did not like him. Eventually they find out Linguini's secret. They see it as ridiculous, so then they all leave him. And then the rats are the ones that take over the restaurant. And then at the end, Linguini helping out. He's basically the waiter. Colette sees the message about everybody can cook, and she is the one that ends up helping out also at the end. And of course, the cliche, the final dish is of course ratatouille itself, and apparently it was delicious. So much so that everybody who watched this movie tried to make it, and it probably wasn't as good. But I fell in love with the food here. It looked really good for an animated movie. The villains, I question. Skinner, he was good. I didn't see the appeal of him wanting to make a brand. Like, it made sense that he wanted to open more restaurants, basically milking Gusto's name and making as much money and profit out of his name till he finds out that the big plot twist, Gusto's son is actually Linguini. Um, that was a big plot twist. It was all right, that twist, but later him stealing the rat, and then I thought, in my personal opinion, I think it would have worked better if Skinner wanted to continue on opening restaurants, but instead he just wants to work on microwave foods like microwave burritos and stuff. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, wouldn't it make sense for him to open a big restaurant and stuff like that? No, that's not what they did. Um, and then Anton Ego. Oh my goodness, this character looked great. First of all, I love that his house, like when they show his living room, his office is like a tombstone. He's probably the harshest critic out there. So when he eats that food that Remy makes, the ratatouille, it was like, yeah, it was breathtaking. Like, he has a flashback of him as a kid falling in love with his mom's food, and yeah, he just loves the food so much, and he basically wants to meet the rat, or he wants to meet the cook, I should say, and then he was like, "What? A rat did this?" And then he basically shows how they cook, and he sees the whole process, and then he is like very thankful that he did this. Um, but unfortunately, Gusto's restaurant shuts down because they locked up the inspector and Skinner, and then they obviously let him go. They had to, and then they get ratted out, pun intended. But the good news is that Ego ends up becoming financial guy for uh upcoming restaurants, and then he helps Linguini, Colette, and Remy open up their restaurant and called Le Ratatouille, which was a very cool, charming way. So there's a couple of like nitpicky stuff that I wasn't high on, but it still surpasses it. Like, I don't want a fanboy because at one point this is a favorite in the family household, but it's not as strong as some of my other favorites, and that is just a testament to how good Pixar really is. I'm gonna give it an A, but those little problems, I mean, come on. Like, an A, it's still a great movie. It's still one of the most must watch movies of all time. So I highly recommend it. Yeah, so check out Ratatouille, is one of Brad Bird's best. And next week we will be talking about Wally. Stay tuned for that one, and I'll see you all next week with that review.